This is guided instruction in sitting mindfulness practice. So, starting with our attitude as we sit down either on a chair or on a meditation cushion to practice mindfulness, just noticing what our sort of natural state is, our kind of default attitude about what we're doing. Are we feeling rushed, ambitious? Do we have some sort of project, some sort of goal in mind? Just noting whatever it is without needing to label it as right or wrong or good or bad. So the view in the sitting meditation practice is that our experience as human beings is worthwhile, just as it is, without needing to change anything about ourselves. There's something worthwhile here. You might call this basic goodness, awakened heart, bodhicitta in Sanskrit. Whatever it is. But this is the ground of the whole practice. So we may not always feel that what we are experiencing in our life is good or worthwhile. But this is the view of meditation. So taking a moment at the beginning of the session to align ourselves with that perspective, whether we're experiencing it right now or not. Reminding ourselves our experience matters. What we do matters. It matters a lot. So we approach our practice with an attitude of gentleness, humility, and actually bravery. It does require bravery to initiate the practice, to have the courage to sit down with our life exactly as it is, without needing to change anything. And we're also, at the same time, cultivating bravery. So coming into a sense of the body, appreciating just the simpleness of the experience of sitting, allowing ourselves to feel grounded, rooted, growing up from the earth as a tree. With your feet flat on the floor if you're seated in a chair. If you're on a cushion on the floor, you can have your legs loosely crossed in front of you. Whatever feels supportive for you. The body has a natural alignment that is slightly different for each person. And it can take some time to discover this alignment for yourself. So in the meditation posture, we're working with the body just as much as the mind. The two are actually both here with us and very much at play with each other. So the meditation posture, in a way, is setting up the body to be less of a nuisance so that we can work with our mind. And at the same time, it's sort of a container for the mind. So having a grounded, dignified posture enables the mind to wake up and relax. So dignity and relaxation. The spine is upright, the chin is slightly tucked. The eyes are open in this technique, we're not shutting off our sense perceptions. So we're not shoving earplugs in, putting a blindfold on. There are mindfulness techniques that close the eyes, and those can be very good. But in this technique, just for today, leave the eyes open. We use a soft gaze so that rather than looking at something in particular, we're just allowing the eyes to feel as if they're sinking back into the head. We can see whatever's there in front of us, but we're not fixating on it with the eyes. Just as we can hear whatever's going on in the background without needing to have our attention follow every little thing. It's just there and it's no problem. So really feeling the body with a sense of appreciation. Noticing that the body naturally breathes. Feeling the breath move through the body. It may be a whole body experience, or you may notice the breath more in a specific part of the body, perhaps in the nostrils or the feeling of the chest rising and falling. There's no wrong way to feel the breath. This is about your personal, real experience. If you need to place your hand on your abdomen to connect with the feeling of your breath, if you need to take a couple of deep breaths in and out to find that feeling, that's fine. So sitting upright and relaxed, placing our mind on the feeling of the breath, this is the technique that we're doing. We're just being with our breath, with our body, with our eyes open, with our sense perceptions awake, without fixating on anything, just resting with the feeling of the body breathing, its aliveness, our aliveness. Our minds are so powerful, so generative. They're very good at taking us away from the present moment. Sometimes we believe that the present moment is boring, it's not exciting enough, or not stimulating us in the way that we want to be stimulated. So we busy ourselves with thoughts of the past, thoughts of the future, worrying, planning, fantasizing, all this. And it's really no problem, except that we wind up feeling miserable. So the technique here, when we notice that we've been swept off in thinking or emotions, either one, is we just check in, take stock of where our mind has been, appreciating that we're already back in the present moment. We've already decoupled from that runaway train, enough to notice. And then we just gently place our attention back on the feeling of the breath, identifying completely with the feeling of the breath leaving the body, noticing the gap that occurs after the breath goes out. Feeling the breath coming in, expanding the body. So we develop strength of mind through doing this practice repeatedly on a regular basis. Having thoughts is no problem. We're not trying to get rid of thoughts. And actually, it's the process of being carried away by thoughts and then noticing that we're strengthening the muscle of our mindfulness. So this is metacognition, the mind knowing itself, the mind seeing that it's thinking, the mind coming in to view within the mind. And that's why it's very important to have an attitude of compassion for oneself, self-compassion, kindness, appreciation. This is not a hard-nosed endeavor to really buckle down and get something right. This attitude of warmth toward ourselves is very critical to mindfulness. It's integral. It's part of the definition of mindfulness, actually. So it's important to know mindfulness does not mean just paying attention, but it is this sort of intentional awareness infused with a quality of warmth, kindness, gentleness, that really is the source of the bravery, the willingness to turn toward. Without that warmth and kindness, it is very difficult to turn toward. And if we do, we may wind up hurting ourselves. So this is a practice that you can do every day for as little as 5 minutes or even 2 or 3 minutes if that's all the time you have. You can abbreviate the practice. And sitting 10 or 15 minutes a day is excellent.